this war first broke out, we weren't even born. And yet still we struggle with everything we have.
Alright guys, now at number 1, from roughly 1.5 years ago, technically when we first heard about it, then we've got over here, in case you're still unfamiliar with, a totally free-to-play third-person shooter by Nixon, built using Unreal Engine 5, going by the name Warhaven. Guys, this is a 16 vs 16 co-op battle royale style melee and shooter set in this medieval style aesthetic, with a global beta testing for it available across PCs right now. The full game, however, is set to come out sometime next year. Check it out, here's the new trailer.
We rise once more. And in the name of the immortals, we are brought back to fight anew. But why return to this carnage? Why doom ourselves to unceasing strife? Because the bones of this war will build a haven for all.
At number 2, let me just point out the fact, in case you haven't heard yet, we have a new developer in town called Velvet Games. This is actually formed by some good old veterans, one part from EA Games and another part from Riot Games. Anyway, the good news is that we just came across the first ever project going by the name Evercore Heroes, what is described by the folks as a competitive PvE, skill-based action MOBA. Check it out, games releasing sometime later this year. And number 3 from earlier September this year, with an insane amount of hype to go with it by Sega itself and the same team actually behind Alien Isolation games, we've got over here something called Hyenas. This is a multiplayer science fiction first-person shooter in which you technically play the role of some sort of Robin Hood, although in first person and not so much in the past. Here's a trailer, game set to be coming to consoles and PCs sometime next year.
I said stop playing with the merch and move.
Can't you see we're busy?
Yes, very busy, darling.
ready to be protectors.
Now, for those of you who've missed out on the alpha test just a little while ago, we've got over here once again HypeSquad. This is a somewhat pretty new action 60-player multiplayer battle royale shooter that partly works just like Fortnite in close quarters. Check it out. Game's now on its way to PCs in both generations of consoles. At a later date though, due out early to mid next year. Just in case you missed it, here's a new trailer.
My strength has no match!
Let me tell you about the friends that invested all they had on a shady site that looked like a scam. It said buy this magic cards to play the coolest game and fight against your friends with no consequence.
At number 5, guys, from a little bit over a month ago, we've got over here an online PvP shooter and a deck building game at the same time, something going by the name Friends vs. Friends. Well, here's a trailer. I don't really have much to talk about with it, except Friends and Friends has no release date as of yet, but it is coming to PCs in both generations of consoles except Switch, and it is also available to be wishlisted on Steam.
In the wasteland, only one thing matters. Pure genetic material. Take all you can and build anything to protect it.
Now, moving on is the old Behavior Interactive. Newest titled, same folks behind Dead by Daylight, in case you're wondering. Something over here going by the name Meet Your Maker. This is a post-apocalyptic first-person deck building and raiding game where every level is designed by the players themselves. Check it out. There's actually a playtest for the game on Steam. The full version, however, is set to come out December 30 next year. So keep it in mind.
I'm the eye in the sky. Taking point B, shark. Pulverize.
Who else needs a bashing?
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, on the other hand, just got itself a little bit of a delay, actually about 2 months ago, and it is now releasing around spring next year. In case you're waiting for it, you just didn't know this before, the game was actually first announced in August of 2020, what was described to be a next generation console exclusive open world co-op action game. And this is how it actually looks.
Got your back, Sharky boy.
No escape from my wrath.
You want to see what a real hero can do? I'll show you. Come on then, you prick!
got behind that from a tad over a month ago. All of this is actually the second time I believe we're talking about it over here. We've got something called Quantum Knights. This is a online open world third-person shooter out of Korea. I'm not really sure if it'll be mainly an MMO as it is described, or it's gonna be the kind of game with a single-player campaign. Anyway, this is actual in-game footage. All we know is that the game is now coming to PCs only sometime next year. Take a quick look. Next up at number 9, we've got something over here called Super People. Developed by the South Korean studio Wonder People from roughly 2 months ago, that actually gained its popularity on Steam with over 5 million players participating in its closed beta test. This game is, as you can see, mostly just hot chicks with even hotter guns and basically fine-tuning the Battle Royale formula to perfection. That was the aim with the game apparently. Check it out in case you missed it. The full game supposedly releases early next year and coming to PCs only.
A new road.
At number 10, we've got Ashfall. Now this has been a long time coming, but just in case, this is an MMORPG Android and iOS sort of exclusive, but then coming over to PCs and supposedly coming to consoles at a later date. Ashfall is actually a shooter themed around the post-apocalyptic AI catastrophe incident something. Here's some early developed gameplay. Come to notice, it's even soundtracked by Hans Zimmer.
Our resting place.
This is a free-to-play, high-octane shooter combining realistic gunplay with personalized classes.
First announced as Tom Clancy's XDefiant around the same time last year, we've got over here, for those of you who missed it, another free-to-play team-based shooter by Ubisoft itself that supposedly features maps and characters from Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, and even Division. Folks just came out with another trailer for it and said the game's releasing for consoles and PCs in late 2022 with a 6 vs 6 arena-based multiplayer. Check it out just in case you missed it.
We created new characters and gameplay unique to our shooter. And we'll continue to add to this diverse cast as the game evolves.
Now, of authentic weapons and attachments. We put a lot of care into how our weapons look and feel. We've crafted every weapon attachment for precise, satisfying gunplay.
Players can mix and match any faction and weapon loadout. You can swap at respawn to adapt to a changing battlefield. Personalize your faction and loadout to be what you need when you need it.
Gundam Evolution, on the other hand, is a, you see, fully fledged first-person shooter by Bandai Namco, in development for about 2 years now, and of course, based on the Gundam series. The game is now finally coming out in about 2 weeks from now. Gundam Evolution just got itself a new trailer. We now know it is coming to PCs in both generation of consoles except Switch, and it'll actually feature about all of the characters and units ever shown across the Gundam universe, and even more. At number 13, we've got Frozen Flame. This is an MMORPG adventure that was revealed a year and a half ago. What was described to be an open world survival, mostly about a dying world where there used to be lots of dragons all over the place. So check it out. We know the game has been in the making for a while now and finally coming out through Steam and past console generations around holidays this year. Coming up behind that, we've got something over here called Age of Water. This is a MMO adventure that takes place on this water-covered version of Earth aesthetically, but gameplay-wise, as you can see, as survivors you get to go about a massive open world on seas though, on a motorboat, recruiting other folks, helping people out that literally just live on the roof of their houses. Check it out, game's a PC exclusive and due out by the end of 2022.
Everything is like a dream, yeah, but only in that world that I dream of. Oh, don't wake me up before you go, 'cause I can't face this day alone. Oh, darling, please just let me sleep. Give me my dreams, give me my dreams, give me my dreams.
And last but not least, from a little over 2 months ago, in case you missed out on, we've got over here something called Decimated. What is described by developers as a third-person survival RPG in the future, where you get to choose to play as a human or a cyborg or an android. I'm not really sure. Here's a trailer. Currently the game is in its pre-alpha state and a multiplayer free-to-play demo on Steam, following an early access version on the way for the following months.